In the summer of 1995, WCW's Bash at the Beach was hosted live from the oceanfront in Huntington Beach, California. Most of the year, World Heavyweight Champion Hulk Hogan had been at war with former three-time champion Vader, and both are looking to settle the score inside a steel cage along the shore. WCW cornerstone, Nature Boy Ric Flair and Macho Man Randy Savage have a storied competitive history consumed with bitterness and animosity, but since the Macho Man's arrival in World Championship Wrestling has escalated into an uncontrollable wildfire. Sting defeated Meng at the Great American Bash to win the vacant United States title, but a rematch is on the horizon for the dangerous Tongan, who also wants to establish his dominance at the top of the WCW food chain. The Nasty Boys' defense of the World Tag Team Championships at the previous pay-per-view against the Blue Bloods was interrupted by Harlem Heat, who subsequently regained the titles. All three teams battle for the gold in a triangle tag team match, while Renegade defends the television championship against Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Diamond Dallas Page faces Dave Sullivan, and Kamala debuts against Jim Duggan at the 1995 WCW Bash at the Beach. The 1995 edition of Bash at the Beach opened with a rematch between Sting and Meng for the United States Championship. Both fighters exchanged blows and chops, yet Meng withstands and retaliates with headbutts and nerve grips. He also shakes off additional assaults from Sting. Nonetheless, Sting seizes a scorpion deathlock when Meng fails to connect with a diving headbutt. Colonel Parker diverts Sting's attention, allowing Meng to strike with a suplex from the apron. Meng continues with several backbreakers and holds, then applies an abdominal stretch. They then exchange sunset flip attempts where Sting ends up sitting on Meng's head. Sting also employs a Thesz press and an unexpected Hurricane Rana. None of these maneuvers succeed and he follows up with a Stinger splash, but Meng counters by kicking him in the air. Meng follows up with a diving splash and covers, only securing a 2 count. Sting takes advantage of the moment to pull off a roll-up victory. Meng assaults Sting post-match, sending him crashing to the floor, but Road Warrior Hawk shows up to defend Sting. Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff challenges the Renegade for the WCW Television Championship. Orndorff dominates the initial moments of match with knee strikes and hair pulling. He also performs his shuffle and delivers an elbow drop. Renegade lifts Orndorff's boot, sends him to the outside, and yanks him back by the hair. The Renegade applies a long headlock before landing a dropkick which lands Orndorff outside and onto the beach. Orndorff throws sand into Renegade's eyes. He then performs a suplex and attempts a pile driver, but Renegade counteracts with a backdrop and more dropkicks before a power slam. After a period of floor activity, Renegade reverses a suplex and follows it up with a bridging back suplex for the victory. Orndorff's shoulder came off the mat, but the referee did not see it. Orndorff assaults Renegade after the match. He delivers a pile driver, but the Renegade quickly gets back on his feet. He ascends the turnbuckles while Orndorff argues with the referee. Orndorff turns around after some time, and Renegade hits him with a flying crossbody. The next contest is between Jim Duggan and Kamala. Both men trade punches and chops early in the match. Duggan uses multiple shoulder blocks and clotheslines to floor Kamala. He retaliates with headbutts and choking. Then, Kamala locks Duggan in a long bear hug and he tries to break it by boxing Kamala's ears. Duggan misses a corner charge and Kamala uses his armpit claw. Duggan answers by biting and gives him the running clothesline. The Taskmaster distracts Duggan and he attacks, but the Zodiac nails Duggan with Kamala's mask and covers him for the win. Dave Sullivan and DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, who faced each other in an arm wrestling match at the Great American Bash, meet next in a singles contest. Dave slams DDP into the turnbuckles and suplexes him from the apron. Then, he makes a move for a corner charge. DDP dodges. Sullivan recovers and delivers an atomic drop and several clotheslines to Page. He also suplexes DDP, but Dave is sidetracked by the Diamond Doll. Dave attempts to fight back with a bear hug. It fails. However, Page misses a corner charge. Dave delivers more clotheslines and an eye poke. He also ensures he apologizes to Kimberly for attacking DDP. Then, Sullivan tries an inverted bear hug, but Max Muscle diverts his attention. This allows DDP to execute the Diamond Cutter for the victory. The next match is a triangle tag team match for the World Championships between the Nasty Boys, the Blue Bloods, and the reigning champions, Harlem Heat. All teams brawl until the Nasty Boys give the Blue Bloods a pit stop. Harlem Heat takes control by using double-teaming tactics. They throw Eden out of the ring. Sherry strikes him. Then, Stevie Ray executes a tilt-a-whirl slam. The Nasty Boys return and strike Stevie Ray before targeting his midsection. Knobbs eventually performs a diving splash on Stevie, but a scuffle allows him to recuperate. The Blue Bloods tag themselves back into the bout. Knobbs prevents Regal's sunset flip and sits on his face. The match turns into another brawl. Knobbs backdrops Regal. Sags throws Booker T onto him. Then, Sags sits on the large pile, and the referee counts to 3. The Nasty Boys believe they are victorious, but referee Nick Patrick declares Booker T had direct contact during the pin, so Harlem Heat prevails. Randy Savage and Ric Flair meet again in a lifeguard match next, where members of the cast of Baywatch, along with Arn Anderson, serve as lifeguards. Savage displays significant intensity from the outset as both competitors exchange strikes and chops. They send each other crashing to the mat. Savage subsequently hurls Flair around the ring for a Flair flip. Flair retaliates by launching Savage all the way into the sand. The lifeguards bring him back, and both wrestlers employ sleeper holds. Flair counters Savage with a shin breaker and focuses on his leg. Flair ultimately puts Savage in a figure 4, but he reverses the hold. Savage regains the upper hand, prompting Flair to attempt to escape. The lifeguards intervene to stop him. They also catch Flair when Randy backdrops him over the ropes. This commotion diverts everyone's attention. It paves the way for Arn to deliver a DDT to Savage. Flair makes the cover but only manages to score a 2 count. Following that, both wrestlers continue to battle until Savage slams Flair off the ropes and concludes with a flying axe handle and the flying elbow for the victory. In the main event, Hulk Hogan defends the WCW World Heavyweight Championship against Vader in a steel cage match. Hogan strikes Vader with his ripped t-shirt. Both competitors collide into the cage and exchange punches. Vader gains the upper hand and strikes Hogan before smashing him into the Mastodon helmet. Hogan counters a second attempt and dons the helmet and headbutts Vader. Vader retaliates by reversing a whip and delivering an avalanche attack. He follows this up with 2 Vader bombs, but only manages a 2 count. Afterward, Vader crashes Hogan into the cage and performs a release suplex on him. He then attempts to break apart the cage as he's unable to locate the door. Hogan makes an attack but does not succeed in slamming Vader. Vader reacts by scaling the top rope and trying a flying senton. He fails to connect and Hogan attempts another slam, but Vader seizes him and applies a headlock. Additionally, he delivers a short arm clothesline and a diving splash. Hogan begins to hulking up. He slams Vader into the cage and executes the big boot. However, the Taskmaster and Zodiac make their entrance. Rodman fends them off with a chair, while Hogan lands 2 leg drops. He starts making his escape, but Vader stands up. Hogan then sends him crashing off the ropes and climbs out of the cage for the victory. Hogan rejoices with Rodman and exits. Ric Flair runs in, disbelieving Vader has been defeated, and berates him. When Vader finally reaches his limit, he retaliates against Flair. Arn Anderson intervenes to protect him, and they retreat while Vader menaces them. Vader then addresses the camera, stating he will take on both Flair and Anderson. In the coming months, the world of professional wrestling would be shaken by a snowball of different landmark events. In September of 1995, WCW launched Monday Night Nitro to air directly opposite WWF's Monday Night Raw, beginning the Monday Night Wars. The first shot fired in the war occurred when the Total Package Lex Luger shockingly returned to WCW on the debut episode of Nitro, unbeknownst to anyone, and immediately issuing a challenge to world champion Hulk Hogan, and labeling WCW where the big boys play. Luger's departure from the World Wrestling Federation would only be the first of several defections over the coming months. Luger joined his best friend Sting to team with Hogan and Randy Savage to face the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan's Dungeon of Doom in a War Games match at Fall Brawl, where the Taskmaster has a giant-sized surprise for Hogan, and the unthinkable becomes a reality, as best friends Ric Flair and Arn Anderson square off in a one-on-one matchup for the first time.